You are listening to Bridging the Gap, the podcast where we talk about businesses going global with the help of localization.
Stay tuned to meet the marketing, product, and software experts that make brands international and learn strategies to speak your customer's language.
Hi, Honsa. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm pretty well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
It's getting scorching hot in Spain, but this is a temporary reference, so whatever. You're going to be listening to us at any point in time, I imagine. But summer is coming for us right now. And we are excited to be finishing the season, actually. This is like the second to last episode of the season.
Yeah, it's been a great ride. We have so many great guests. If you hear this for the first time, make sure to check the previous episodes as well, because we have so many interesting insights on localization and translation, and also businesses, how to expand in Europe. And I would say that in this episode, we will actually continue the trend, and we would like to share some interesting insights from some European countries. This time it's Switzerland, which is actually interesting because in Switzerland you have multiple official languages, and that's why we have one of our clients, Christina. Hello, Christina. It's nice to meet
Hello.
you.
Hello, Christina. This was like a very sudden, but hello. So glad to see you today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
So we were talking about how we're going to focus today on a case study, the case study of the company you're leading right now. And we want to make it practical. So we are super excited to hear your insights. I would love to know, Christina, what do you do at your company and how it all came about? Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. So my name is Christina. I live in Zurich with my family. My family is a teenager, which can be sometimes a little bit challenging, and a nice family dog. I originally grew up in Germany, but as my mother is Swiss, I moved to Switzerland to start my career at a bank. That's now a couple years ago. So I really did a classical education at a bank before I studied at university, and there I focused on marketing. But I stayed with the banks. But after 30 years of banks, I thought I really want to do something a little bit different. But it's not that easy if you have stayed so long with one topic. Already during my career at the bank, it was very clear for me that I want to give something back of my knowledge and do something with impact. And in my last role, I also did financial education for women, and I really loved that topic. But then we had discussions and actually said it's not only women, but especially mothers and also families who really have problems with how to save money. And that's where the idea of Clanq came up. So together with my founders, 4 years ago, we founded Clanq in Switzerland. And the idea is really to enable families to save for the future for their children. So it's not about only short-term savings, but really long-term savings, so that when your child is leaving the house, you can really give something on the way with your children.
That's wonderful. Yeah, there's so much, like there's a big need of financial education and savings for families. I was wondering, the jump from big bank to a startup must have been daunting, right?
Yes, that was really different coming from a big company where everything is organized. You know exactly who to call to get what. You have the specialists for everything. And you have a big network you can rely on. And then suddenly you are there and there are just a couple or handful of people. And suddenly you have to care yourself of everything. I mean, starting with where do you get a pencil and where do I get a block? Yeah, I mean, it's easy. You just go to the next shop and buy it, but it starts with those little things. And I always was saying at the beginning, I didn't really feel, I mean, you had to manage and you had to visualize and you had to be very strategic. But on the other hand, it was very, very hands-on. And this is something I really like to do because you are really, it's in your hands, you're responsible. And if it doesn't work, blame yourself.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons we have you here. Like, we want to talk to doers. We want to hear the first-hand experience, insights from people actually like doing the work, not just theorizing about it. And I believe that's what all listeners would appreciate, because most of our listeners, I repeat it a few times already, are startups and small businesses. So most of the people are actually doers, and they need to figure out things on their own. And I also see this episode like sort of a experience exchange. Like, what have you experienced starting from zero, and especially focus on localization. So what are the challenges, etc. So we will get to this. We have a couple of questions prepared for you. But first of all, tell us about how you started. Like, you told us earlier that you started on the German market.
Exactly.
Why is that so?
So, while we were thinking about the product and where are the chances, and I mean, it was very clear we are not applying for licenseship as a bank, because otherwise we would be maybe now on the market, but it's very complicated to really get your bank license. So we were evaluating the markets, and at that point, it was almost easier to found a fintech in Germany than in Switzerland, or we found a good partner where they said, okay, we can really help you that you are fast on the market. Germany was always an alternative and an attractive market, and the issues are the same. Actually, Switzerland is a lot more overbanked than Germany, so we saw a lot more potential in the German market. And with the partner bank in Germany, it was 10 months until we were on the market with an MVP. So that was really fast because they were used to work with fintechs. I mean, it's their business, but really support us with everything we needed. So we started in the summertime, and then in March, we launched our first product in Germany. Language-wise, it was also very easy. It's just German. So we had one version of the app, really started with an MVP, trying out what is working in the market, what our clients need, what are their wishes. So we had a lot of interactions with our clients to really find out are our ideas the right ones? So before developing certain products, we first talked to our community and got the feedback from our clients. So very much at the beginning, it was already clear. People said, but how can I also invite my husband or my wife to the app? And then I said immediately, we need a family account. But not only a family account, what about the 3-account model? Each parent has an account, but then you have one common account where you pay all the family expenses from. And so we throw it back to our community, and they all said, yes, they would like to have something like this. And then we developed the family account with the 3-account model. So the parent, they both have an app, and in both apps, you see the balance, for example, on the family account. And so we had very good learnings in the German market, which was helping us a lot then to go into a second market and having a much clearer picture what we want to do there. And yes, Switzerland and Germany is not the same, but it's also not totally different. It's not
So
that is the culture is very different, that we would say, okay, we have to do something completely different, but the standards and the principles were the same.
So before we try to enter imaginary, before we try to enter the Swiss market, let's stay a little bit in Germany for a moment. So I was thinking, you said that you have a pretty good community there. You did some research with customers. Were there any challenges that are specific to the German market you could share with us, like especially in the finance industry?
I mean, yeah, the biggest challenge was that we started with a freemium product, so it didn't cost anything. This was how a lot of fintechs or neobanks in Germany started, and then we said, but now we have really a product which is adding so much value, also with the cashback partnerships we have, that with every purchase you receive cashback. We don't want to offer it anymore for free. And this was our biggest challenge: how to introduce fees to customers who got the product because they thought they don't have to pay anything, and how to really tell our clients what is the real value, and why it's not free anymore. And we have different price models, and it was clear that we will lose clients, what is always hard as a young company, because you always want to have more and more and more clients, and then facing that some clients are not willing to pay for the product. But then we said, okay, now we really keep the clients who know the value of our product, of our app, and those are the ones we really want to keep.
Yeah, that is absolutely key when we are doing pricing change. It's important to know what customers do you actually want to keep. So I was wondering, Christina, regarding your expansion to Switzerland, it's kind of curious that you started off founded in Zurich and you chose Germany as a testing market, as you explained. So for people who are not really familiar with the market in Switzerland, there are actually 4 official languages, and that is not the usual situation. Even if you're expanding to other countries where there are multiple languages, normally you will find 1 or 2 official languages. So 4 official languages, as far as the bureaucracy goes, it's kind of a big challenge. How did you manage that, and why did you decide to launch in 3 of those 4 languages at once? How was the process, and why was the reason behind that?
Yeah. So as we have a financial product, and finances are very close to the people's heart, it's not just an entertaining app we have, and they really want to understand what it is all about. So to have that in only, let's say, English, everybody would say, but this is not a Swiss app. It's an international app, and we want to have Swiss banking. It's also that in Switzerland we have a Swiss bank where you open up your account. So that wouldn't have fit to do everything in one language. If you do it only in German, you lose about 60% of the Swiss people speak German or have German as their mother tongue. So there's still 40% you wouldn't reach because they want to do it in their mother tongue. So if you want to go to the French-speaking part, you don't really have a chance if you only do it in German. They won't even, I mean, you can do the advertising, but then if they want to choose the app, they want to read it, and you have to sign a lot of papers when you open up. It's opening a bank account. It's not just downloading an app where you play something or communicate with other people. It's about your money. It's about the money of your family. That's why you 100% should understand what it is all about. So already starting with the T&Cs you have to sign, it's getting complicated if this is not in your mother tongue. So as you mentioned, we have 4 languages. We even started in 4 languages, but not in the 4 national Swiss languages. So there's one part of Switzerland, the eastern part of Switzerland, where about 40,000 people speak Romansh, but they all speak one other language as well. So they either speak German or Italian.
So it didn't make sense.
So we don't lose them. But if you're in the parliament in Switzerland, you are allowed to speak in your mother tongue. So you could speak in Romansh, which probably doesn't help you too much because 99.5% of the people in the room wouldn't understand you. So it's a lot better if you use one of the other languages. But as we also have a lot of expats and Switzerland has also a lot of foreigners in the country, we decided from the beginning we also do it in German. So that's why we came up with 4 different languages. And we said we already want to have it in the MVP so we can really start advertising it in the whole region of Switzerland. The other thing is that our bank partner in Switzerland, we have the branding Clanq powered by Corner, and Corner is sitting in Lugano. So it was very clear, as we have a bank who is located in the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, they want to have an Italian app. That's no question about it. So that's why it was always clear from the beginning. We will start already in 4 languages.
I see that as you are a financial app, you're handling clients' money. It's a big part of your responsibility is actually like building the trust with the customer. And I see that localization could help with that. How do you approach like trust with the customers, and how do you build trust with the customers?
So it's really about showing our expertise, also showing who are our partners. I mean, the partner bank we work with, they are one of the older banks, and they are actually a family bank. There are generations of bankers already there. So it's not, it's a bank which people know, especially Corner Card. They have a lot of credit cards in the market. So that helps us already that the trust, or at least there is security. And then we as a young finance app, we really have to demonstrate what we know, that we really know what we are talking about. And that's where financial education is a very important part of our app. That it's not just you can move your money around what everybody expects, but also showing our expertise and who is behind the bank.
Mm-hmm. So you localize the experience in the whole sense, of course. It was not only linguistic. It was partnering with a local bank to generate the trust and adjusting to the customer expectations, which I'm wondering if they were very different from the German customers.
That's a good question. I don't experience too much differences. Okay. I mean, they are families. They care about their kids. They want to reach something for their children. So this is very much in common in both countries. So there I don't experience that much difference. In Switzerland, we are also in direct contact with our cashback partners. So if you buy something at our cashback partners, you can get up to 25% cashback. So you just pay with your Clanq card and automatically the cashback lands on your kid's account. So it's very easy. It's not collecting any points. You don't have to calculate, okay, I have 10 points. Is this equal 10 Swiss francs? Or is it only worth 1 Swiss franc? Do I have to open up a special platform where I can spend those points? No, it's real money, but it's automatically going to your kid's account. And this is something our cashback partners really like a lot. And this also shows, and this also has to do with trust. And the more cashback partners we have, and they also say, yeah, we like to support the families and we support Clanq, that also helps us with all the trust building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was wondering regarding the linguistic process, the big question for me, for someone who's listening and wants to expand to Switzerland, was it very difficult, very challenging? What kind of mistakes did you make in the process of implementing 3 languages at once?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's time consuming, definitely. We did a couple mistakes at the beginning. And so we have our learnings, what is good. I would never start again to already at the beginning do everything for the MVP. Yes, when we launched the product, we go out with 4 languages, but we started already from the beginning translate everything into 4 languages. And that's an issue. If you have changes, you have to change it there again. Then we had also external people who were helping us with the language. So English, German, Italian, we all have in-house, but we don't have anybody mother tongue French. So we said, we really want to have someone, I mean, on all the juridical phrases, it came from someone who is a lawyer, because there you don't just machine translate it. But French, we also wanted to have somebody who was checking everything. And there it was the biggest mistake, because we realized when everything was checked that the language, we want to be very close to our clients. So that's why we talk in the informal way to our clients. In English, it's easy. It's always you. You don't realize. In German, it's already the du and sie, and also in Italian. I'm sure in your language, there's a difference, or I know there's a difference. The French person who was checking everything was just taking the English version and translating it to French. And it was all in the formal way.
Ooh, right.
And we didn't realize at the beginning, it wasn't rolled out to clients yet, but at some point we just looked at it and said, no, this is in the formal way. I mean, it can't be that we do it differently in different languages. That doesn't work. So we manually went through everything. And it's not just pushing a button and saying, just change everything from formal to informal. So we really went through all the French pages, and it was pages that we had to go through and change.
This is more common than you think.
And for us, it was so clear. Sometimes you think everything is clear, and for the other person it wasn't. So it's just things like this happens, and now it doesn't happen anymore. I mean, we are very conscious of using informal and formal way, especially if we work with external partners, because internally it's everything clear. And the other thing is, because our developers, it's a very international team, they need to do everything in English, because that's their common language. And sometimes the English came from developers, not from somebody in communication. There you have to be careful that it's not just translated into all the other languages. Really working on the fundamentals, that the English is already very good, makes it a lot easier to then translate it to the other languages. So sometimes at the beginning we realized this doesn't really sound good in Italian or in German, and then we realized the English is not good enough. It's kind of, for working and saying push the button, but maybe it should be in order to, you have to push the button, or it has to be a little bit longer, or in more detail. So this was another learning what we have, to really work carefully already on the English language, and not just for working purposes, but thinking, okay, this is how we want to tell our clients how it should sound. And then it's getting very easy to do the translations.
Yeah, it's very important to note that developer English and regular English are not actually the same language.
No, it's okay. They have to understand it's very technical also. And this is sometimes where you start from the technical part, because you first have to understand how it's working in the background. What do they exactly need? How it's connected. So this is very often where you start off. But then before you really start implementing everything, you have to work on the language.
Yeah,
So we have to change our internal processes as well.
We were laughing a little here because we actually coined this term in our product. We use developer English for this unpolished version of English, the first draft. And it catch up really well. We started recommending this to clients to actually use developer English and real English to actually distinguish these two. So people are using it.
It's a whole different locale right now, like Swiss French and French for France.
Yeah. we're just laughing about this. Something we came up with a little bit accidentally because people are having the same problem as you described, and that's our solution to that.
Yeah.
But it works great because everyone knows what's developer English already.
Yeah, and it works perfectly, especially if you have an international team. They also communicate in a very fast way, which is completely different how you communicate with your customers.
And
Yeah.
we've also gone through this talk in other episodes of the season, how there's a disconnect between developers and linguists and the way they communicate. So I don't know if you have any advice about that, because sometimes when you prepare like a project for localization, you get the developers and you get your reviewers or managers, and they just speak a completely different language. How can you actually localize your team so they localize well?
Yeah, it's really to implement it in the process. I have one person in the team who, if we have the designs ready, she is going through and really looking at the language before it is really being developed, because that saves us time and resources at the end. And especially if you have it in so many languages, it's really valuable. So we had to change our processes and when to integrate it. And it really doesn't have to be at the very, very beginning. It doesn't have to be polished yet, because then it's more about the technical terms. And you also have to be very careful that your working titles. We have, for example, one working title called pregnancy account. But it's not really an account. Everybody knows what a pregnancy account is in our app within Clanq. But for going external, we didn't want to use this term because it's not actually an account. It's a place where you save cashback while you're planning to have a family or already pregnant. And so you can save cashback there already because you have a lot of things to buy before the baby is born. So it would be really a pity if you can't save already the cashback. So you save it in a safe, actually. And when the child is born, the safe is opening and all the money goes immediately on the account. So then it's becoming an account. But there you also have to be careful that those working terms are not suddenly in your customer language.
You mentioned some sort of ownership of the language. You have a person responsible for the language that actually takes care. So I would say that this one part is really important. But how do you manage this specific terms or working terms or things you want to unify within the company? How do you manage these kind of things? Do you share some materials or do you have some specific tools to use that?
Yes, it's not a tool, but at least a paper where we exactly say which terms do we use in Clanq, how we write certain things. And this is available to different people. So it doesn't matter if we speak to new cashback partners, we should use the same language as we talk to our clients. Our customer support has to talk in the same language. We also use it for agencies. If we do posts on social media, that we really always speak the same language. So yeah, this is very important, and we have it. And yeah, we also try to save it in Localazy. It not always works, but in some cases it does. It's really using it the same word everywhere. So this is important, especially because if it's Italian is not my mother tongue. So then I sometimes have to think, oh, how do we say exactly for that term? I know how we say it in English. I know how we say it in German, but maybe in French or Italian, I have to think twice. So it's good to have those terms ready. Yeah.
So basically like a shared document, like a style guide you have shared across the company and everyone has access to and everyone can use it as they need. Like each of these departments can take a look.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing this.
Yeah, the most complicated still is if you have those legal terms. And this I was already facing my whole career, I have to say, because I did a lot of communication for the bigger banks I worked. And if first a lawyer was writing a letter or a client communication, it was all correct, but the clients didn't understand it. So, and this we were facing in the app as well, especially in the onboarding. And that's where you lose a lot of your clients if you don't do it the right way. And if it's not clear for them, sometimes you have to use a legal term, but then it's also very important that you somewhere describe what does this really mean so they can give the right answer. And just don't stop the onboarding process, for example, or give the wrong answer and then the account won't be opened for them. And this is where we work with external people because we don't have a lawyer in the team. We are too small for that. And that works pretty good. But then we always have to go back and say, okay, this is what we need. What really has to be in those legal terms and what can be written more client friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess in this kind of industry, it's always tricky to mix compliance with whatever legal terms you have going on with customers actually understanding them.
Yeah.
And if you add 4 languages, that can be a mess pretty quickly if you don't manage it well.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good that at least you have it in a tool and it's not wherever and you have to
scattered in Excel sheets.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's becoming really complicated. And yeah, we had some learnings there as well. And that's the good thing about Localazy. You can change it very easily. I mean, you can even change things real time. So if we realize, oh, it shouldn't happen, but there is a typo, you can fix it very easily and real time. I mean, this is perfect.
Well, and the product can change and the branding can change. Like updates are needed for that because products are not static.
Yeah, and especially if new features are added, it always has an effect on your existing product. We will have a new, bigger. It will be very big release in Q4, and that has a lot of effects on our existing app, not only design wise, but also language wise, because we have to differentiate a lot better. It will be like 2 different areas where our customers will have access to.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can tell us a little bit, Christina, even without mentioning the statistics. Did you notice regarding the results, the benefits of localization right on when you localize it, the product for the Swiss market? Did you get feedback? Do you have any way of measuring the ROI? Do you have any tool for that?
No, and it's difficult because we started already in 4 languages, so it's not that we could say, and then when we did it in 4 languages, it was a lot better or the attraction was there. But yes, if we wouldn't have it in French, for example, we wouldn't have any French-speaking customers, and we do have them. I'm very sure, if we wouldn't do that, the percentage would be very, very small. So no, I can't really say because it wasn't a development, it was a decision we do it from the beginning.
Yeah, measuring localization can be challenging for some apps or even some products. But I know that what almost every team does is at least have direct customer feedback on the localization itself. Like for example, at Localazy, we have people who are saying, "Hey, you have some mistake there. You should fix that." Or, "Okay, so there is some typo." Do you have some sort of similar process in place, like these feedback loops from customers, and how often happens that you need to fix things based on customer feedback?
It's actually not very high, but it helps us. I mean, the Italian is, before we do the release, our bank partners in Ticino, in the Italian-speaking part, are reading through everything. So yes, that's where we get a lot of feedback because they read it very carefully. And sometimes it can also happen that it's already released, but that's where we receive the feedback. And it's also good even with client letters. We also, at the beginning, we had them in in the app itself, but now we really have them also included with the strings in Localazy. So if we change client letters, it's a lot easier. The standard ones like the welcome email to clients, welcome to Clanq. Now, a customer, please do this and this and this for the next steps. And there are things changing regularly. And this makes it a lot easier to do those changes, I really have to say, because we had the experience in Germany where we didn't use Localazy, and if we had changes there, even if it was only one language, it was so much more complicated. And now in Switzerland, if we have something new which affects new clients, it's so much easier. We just had a change last week. It was adding a new paragraph. It was just something we could do. We didn't need the developers for it because we could do it from the communication part. And that's good because then the developers can concentrate on the things where I have no clue.
We're super glad it's helpful.
Yeah.
We are nearing the end, Christina. You actually already mentioned 2 things you wouldn't do again if you were to launch in Switzerland. But as a conclusion, what are the biggest lessons and the tips you would give to someone who's expanding with a small business to Switzerland right now and wants to do something similar to what you guys did with 3 languages or 2 languages?
Yeah, so work on a proper first language version, if it's English or whatever the developer language is, and do the translations as late as possible.
Okay. So would you advise, some people have already told us that they start prototyping, like for example the homepage or specific space of their product, they prototype it in the language, and when everything's ready they just go on with the rest of the product. So you wouldn't do the whole product at once?
Not in all languages. So first doing one proper version in one language and then translate it. That saves time and money.
Awesome.
Overall, yeah. I don't know if you have any questions for Christina, Jan.
No, I'm really happy to have you, Christina. It was super exciting to hear, firsthand insights from expanding to Switzerland and also from Germany. Yeah, I think we should wrap it up here. We don't have that much time anymore. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Christina, do you have any plans for Clanq to expand to another country soon? Any other multilingual country or unilingual?
The countries we are looking at the moment actually are already included in our Localazy. But I mean, we have the advantage. We have German, Italian, and French. So next countries around Switzerland speak those languages. So that is
quite useful.
Yeah.
Where can we actually follow you and know more about your product?
The easiest is to go on our website, clanq.ch, or for Germany, clanq.de. And also social media, we are regularly posting updates and also insights and tips how to save money there. So Facebook, Instagram, or also on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for joining us, Christina. This was a great episode with great insights. I hope everyone finds it useful. And see you soon for the last episode of the season. It's coming. Thank you for being here.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
If you like this episode, please follow our channel and add it to your favorites so you don't miss the next conversation. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for updates and bonus content. Until next time, stay curious!